Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to week 2 of our Revelation Bible study. This week we'll be focusing on Revelation 2:12 to 17 and Revelation 3:14 to 22. Now, these are sections of John's 7 letters to the 7 churches. You can read all 7 of the letters if you would like. That's certainly encouraged if you would like. But for our purposes, we're going to be focusing in on 2 of the letters. Now, this part of Revelation can get kind of glossed over from time to time. It can be easily forgotten, but they're actually really crucial to our understanding of the book of Revelation. They help remind us that Revelation was written for a very specific group of people. In the study Bible that I'm using, and perhaps yours as well, there are notes that talk about each community. In a way, these communities represent the diversity of our communities. They're not a whole lot different in their attitudes as we are in some of ours. If you don't have these notes in your Bible, that's okay. I'll post some of the notes that I have later to help give you a fuller picture of these communities. But it helps to remember that these letters are written to specific groups of people and addressing specific situations. A lot of times they have struggles and successes that many of us can relate to. So the 2 that we focus on today are the letters to Pergamum and Laodicea. The other 5 letters are to churches in Ephesus, Smyrna, Thyatira, Sardis, and Philadelphia. Now, Pergamum was a community that was surrounded by a heavily Roman influence. The Roman culture started to have pretty deep roots in these churches, and John saw that as a corrupting influence on their Christianity. So that's why you get some of that imagery in the letter to Pergamum. Uh, that's why it says, to everyone who conquers these corrupting forces, they will be given a white stone with a new name. Um, some pretty heavy baptism imagery in there. White symbolizes a purity, a blank slate, a new start, and that new name given us is that new identity that we find in baptism. So that's really what the letter to Pergamum is about. Laodicea was a community that was very wealthy, but had gotten complacent in their worship life, in their faith, and in their lives in general. They thought very highly of themselves because they were very successful. John writes this letter to the church in Laodicea, warning them of their lukewarmness. I like that the phrase that he uses, their lukewarmness. They're neither hot nor cold, but they're lukewarm. It's a way of saying that they're fairly apathetic to what happens in their community. They don't really care one way or the other. They kind of toss their hands up. They don't really care. And so we have this image of Jesus standing at the door and knocking. It echoes a call from Jesus in the gospel, right? It's a call for urgency. Jesus says, I stand at the door and knock. And so there's a kind of urgency there that John echoes from Jesus in the gospels. There's a sense of comfort there. Jesus is knocking at the door. Jesus is nearby, but there's also a sense of judgment. It's comforting, but it's also confrontational. So as we go throughout this week, as you read through the letters, particularly to Pergamum and Laodicea, but if you'd like to read those, the other 5, you're more than welcome to. And like I said, I'll post some resources to help out understanding those a little bit later. Um, but as you go throughout your week this week, as you read, as you think about these letters, think about a letter you would write to your church. Think about a message that you could send them. What would you say? What kinds of things would you warn against? What do you see that you don't think is from God? What kinds of things would you encourage in your church or in your community? These kinds of things will be our guides for discussion throughout the week. So, like I said, I'll post some more resources a little bit later today to help us understand a little bit more about these 7 letters. But I hope we can really dive into some good discussion this week about what this might be saying to us in 2015 here today. So I hope you have a great day. God bless.